Melissa, I saw something really weird the other day, this past week, similar to, remember, it was, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so, where you went to, I guess, your work building at night or something like that, and you thought you saw Fast and the Furious playing out in real life.
Yes.
There. So I saw something maybe similar. So every Saturday morning, my partner and I go grocery shopping. And every Saturday morning out by what used to be this giant mall that's now been abandoned. I think part of it is rented out by a church. But there's like the abandoned half of the mall. Out in that parking lot every Saturday morning, there's what I like to call a biker gang out there. Now, they're not an actual biker gang. It is just people learning how to ride motorcycles. There's like people teaching them stuff like that. But I always like to be like, oh, is the biker gang out this morning? And sure enough, they usually are. So we get our groceries, and we turn out of the parking lot for the grocery store. We're on our way home. Then all of a sudden, there's a line of like 16 to 20 Mustangs, like the cars, the just all different kinds of colors, different customizations, different years, all sorts of stuff, but all just looking super sporty. And so we're sitting there like, what? These are all the same car. What is happening here? What is going on right now? And then it light bulb, eureka moment. They're battling the biker gang.
Oh man.
Here we go.
They're not allowed to battle those students. Wait until they're professionals. That's unfair.
Who knows? Who knows what was happening way at that? But it was just that like weird moment of like, I'm witnessing something that is strange. Like this does not happen every day.
Right.
We figured there must be some kind of car show, some like Mustang specific car show or something. But yeah, it was just like
great if it isn't Mustang specific and that's just accidentally all they got.
Right. Yeah.
Like when you buy the bag of Starburst and you open it up and they're all pink.
Oh, that happens to me with High Chews. Have you ever noticed this? If you get the mixed bag of High Chews that has like the green apple, the grape, and like I think it's the strawberry one or whatever, I barely ever get any strawberries ever. It's always green apple and grape. And like maybe in an entire bag, I have like 2 strawberries. And it's just like, what?
I don't know about the High Chews, but this is a legitimate issue with Starburst. I think like in the last couple of years, if you would go and get the big Halloween trick-or-treat bag of Starburst, where it's a big bag full of little like 2 packs of Starburst.
Right.
And it doesn't say, this is a pink only bag, special pink, oops, all pinks. But if you open all of them up, every one of them is pink.
That's wild.
And the theory is that there was some sort of production issue at Starburst, and they're just like trying to mask it with, wow, what a random coincidence. Lucky you.
Right. I wonder if it was some kind of supply chain, something with COVID, and they couldn't get the right flavoring and the right dye. And they're like, all we have is pink. Who knows?
Only pink. A weird thing I've seen on the streets recently. You can introduce the podcast after this. But those big electronic roadside signs that just give you information.
Right.
One slide says construction begins on, and then the next slide says German Monday, August 5th.
German Monday.
Like, what holiday is German Monday? Have I missed the concept of German Monday for my entire life? How is it prolific enough to be listed on the little roadside sign, but not be on a single calendar? What is this new concept?
Tomorrow.
This is brand new this year. Right.
Happy early German Monday.
How will you celebrate German Monday? What beers will you have? It turns out there's just a small side street named like German Boulevard that I've never bothered to glance over at.
Huh. Interesting.
But for 20 seconds, I was so confused. I'm like, I'm in another realm. This is one of those slips into an alternate dimension where there's like, don't you know German Monday? You have to get to the store and buy your German Monday treats. You must send your mother some flowers for German Monday.
Did you remember
Put on
to
your
pick up the schnitzel?
lederhosen. We're all doing it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, this is the Whatnauts Captain's Log number 278. My name is Kyle Springer. I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, you got plans for German Monday this week? What are you up
I'll
to this
have
next
to
week?
make some. Oh boy. It's been theater season here. I don't have a play this week. This is one of my off weeks.
Gotcha. Cool,
but
cool.
great time at the St. Louis theater scene at the Muni Theater so far this summer.
Has
Wonderful
there been
puppets.
any ones you haven't seen yet? Ones that were like a good surprise?
I had never seen Fiddler on the Roof, which was one of the last big classic ones I hadn't seen yet.
Mhm.
And this week was Waitress, which is a newer musical I also
Okay.
hadn't seen,
There you
based
go.
on a movie that I had not seen. And the premise of it seemed pretty heavy, so I was surprised at how funny the musical was. That was a good time.
Interesting. That's fun. Good stuff. Good stuff. We it's a interesting time because I feel like we're sandwiched in between Comic-Con and D23.
Right.
Which we will be talking about Comic-Con later on in the show here. That's most of what we will be talking about. But then Formula One is on summer break. So there's like a good almost month of nothing happening with that. My
Really?
job
Just a
has
month?
been real slow. Yeah, just a month.
Okay.
I think the way the schedule works out this year, there's this odd thing where, yeah, summer break happens, which is supposed to be about a month. Then we have the first race back, and then we have like another like 3 weeks off until the next race, which is usually not what happens. Usually it's like maybe 1 or 2 races back to back, and then you have a week off, and then another race, and then maybe a week off, and then, you know. So it's just an odd timing for certain things. Yeah.
I saw a sport this week.
Yeah? What'd you see?
I did. My office went to a baseball game. We saw the St. Louis Cardinals v. the Texas Texans, the Texas Rangers.
Sure, I have no idea. I know the Texans is the football team.
Okay.
Houston
I think it was the
Texans.
Rangers. I don't know. They all
Okay.
seemed like nice men.
Yeah.
We won. That
There
was
you go.
good.
It's fun. It's
Yeah,
nice to go to a baseball game. I'm not a baseball fan in the slightest.
Me
but it's
either.
It's fun. Fun to go to a
It's
game.
great atmosphere. Like, this was a 1:15 game on a day with a heat advisory.
Yeah.
So I texted my mom, half joking but half serious. Heat index of 107. Pray for the guy in the mascot costume.
Right, yeah. As I'm over here
Please pray
spilling
for
my
Fred
drink
Bird.
all on myself. Yeah.
Well, you got to stay hydrated.
The last baseball game I went to was a minor league one. The Richmond Flying Squirrels was our minor league team. We used to be the Spiders, and then they were like, no, the Flying Squirrels, and everyone was just like, what? That's ridiculous.
Every place has a spider. I don't think there's a spot on Earth without spiders, but I don't know how many places have a flying squirrel. If you have a rarer thing to use, then use it.
Yeah. I think it was they were trying to get away from Richmond University, which their mascot is the spiders, but then also to make it more family friendly, like a spider mascot.
Sure.
Maybe not, you know. But like a big squirrel, a big flying squirrel, like, yeah.
Kids love that.
Exactly. So they're good times. Did you get a hot dog or anything?
We were in
Cotton
a private
candy?
suite. No, not one cotton
Oh,
candy,
you were in a
not
private
two.
suite. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so we had a little buffet. There were hot dogs. One of my coworkers tried to do the 999 challenge, which is where you have 9 hot dogs and 9 beers in 9 innings. He doesn't drink though, so it was just going to be like 9 Gatorades or whatever. I think he made it 6 hot dogs, and they ran out of hot dog, and then he had like a bratwurst, and then he gave up.
He is no Kobayashi Maru or whatever his name is. The hot dog guy.
Sure.
That's his name, right? No.
Right. That's what Captain Kirk did to get into Starfleet. Is he beat the hot dog guy?
Nailed it.
To out eat. That's how you get a Starfleet ship. Is you have to eat the most hot dogs.
Good stuff. Indeed.
We had a little buffet. The food's certainly fine.
Yeah,
but the brownies.
Ooh.
This was the best brownie I've ever had. I don't know how they did it so good.
Interesting. Okay. Was it legit like
Great.
a special kind of brownie? Was it like a chocolate fudge? Were there chocolate chips on it? Was it?
I mean, they're all chocolate
caramel?
fudge. It's brownie. No, it's got like some chunks in it. It's fudgy in the middle, like really fudgy, but really holds its shape. Yeah. Really crisp edges when they cut it into a little triangle. Gotcha. And I don't know if that might be a catering exclusive brownie. If you're just a civilian going to Busch Stadium, I don't know if you can get your hands on that brownie.
Yeah, for their VIPs,
which is unfortunate,
and their VIP kitchen
brownie,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
The brownie was great. A baseball stadium does feed my need for unnecessarily large architecture.
Sure.
Like we had like an air conditioned room and then a couple seats outside that were under an awning, and it wasn't that hot earlier on in the game. But it was still hot. But I sat outside because I'm like, I love being in a big space.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I talk about when I talk about that's my favorite part of Star Wars is just
big spaces,
vast spaceship
big
corridors. Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, I got to do this more often. What's bigger than stadiums? I just got to go to stadiums. I love to feel small.
Good stuff. Well, let's jump right into our cinema corner because we got a few things we can talk about. Some that I'll just kind of mention that I watched, and then I'll move on. I over the past month or so watched all of The Man in the High Castle over on Amazon Prime. And then I also got to watch The Sympathizer over on HBO Max. That was good one. I liked that. Recently went to go see Twisters, which was a lot of fun. I don't think we've really gotten a chance to talk about that one here on the podcast.
Did you?
But that one
how
was
it seeing Twisters in Oklahoma City? Could you feel that you had a special energy?
Yeah, our theater was pretty packed.
Good.
Since I'm not from here originally, I don't have the like certain connections to it that I think other people did. Like there's a number of scenes where like the news is reporting on the Twisters, and I don't know if those were actors or not, but then my partner was like, no, those are like the local news anchors here in Oklahoma City. Yeah, like that, like that's who they are. And yeah, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of ridiculous because they also don't explain that the tornadoes don't just come up out of nowhere. Like there's a certain scene in there where one just kind of appears out of nowhere in the midst of this stuff, and that's not really how it works. There would be a big storm happening, and it would be kind of one of those things of like, well, it's storming real bad here. I don't think we should be out at this event, right? Which was not what was happening in the movie at all. So there is this like suspension of disbelief. But yeah, from what I can like, I've heard stories of very similar stuff of just like, yeah, we had to take shelter in a gas station, or we had to do this. I got stuck under this thing. Yeah. So, can be pretty scary when it actually happens in real life. But that movie was a blast. Good fun.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Great for everyone.
Indeed. And then both Melissa and we went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine on opening weekend. We have a full spoiler cast over on the Reactor Core for you guys to check out, which is one of our other podcasts. So I won't say much here, but a good time was had by all, I think. Do you want to add anything? It was fun. It was good.
It was fun. It was good. We talked about it.
We sure did.
Visit that podcast for my exclusive M&M's theory.
Yeah,
Still haven't heard it from anyone else.
Exactly. But this past week, the two things that I actually do want to talk about, I went to go see Longlegs finally.
Yeah.
This is one that I'd been interested in, like, cautiously, because you guys know me. I don't like scary stuff. So I was like, I don't know. But then, Melissa, you went to go check it out. And I was like, can you report back to me if I think this will be scary or not? And you were like, I don't think so. I think you'll be fine. And then, like, shortly after that, the guy that works at the comic book store was like, oh, you need to go see Longlegs. So I did. I finally went.
Yes.
I had a great time. It was great.
It is fun.
It's properly scary, but it is creepy. Like that, it's more so creepy than it really is scary. I think the kind of jump scare moments are more so just kind of the music gets really, really loud for a second. And that's also kind of maybe the most annoying thing about the film is just like, oh, the music is a little loud at certain parts. But it was really good. Nicolas Cage is just chewing up the scenery as much as he can.
He's always next level.
Yeah, it just like he is genuinely creepy in that. So I had a blast. I heard that they were also giving out tickets to anyone who had a birthday on the 14th to go see that movie for free, like certain theaters were. Yeah, I don't know exactly what I was expecting. It's hard to really say too much without going into spoilers. I felt like it could have been a little more on the detective-y side.
That is my favorite part of it, is like the first half or third of the movie where it does feel very Mindhunter-y.
Yeah.
The movie does take a slight turn in the latter part of it that I wasn't as fond of. Because the earlier stuff, I've never seen a movie be this successful at such a specific aesthetic and mood and atmosphere and vibe. That's what I wrote. That was my little review I wrote to my friends on Longlegs. Atmosphere, 11 out of 10. Length of legs, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, but still a good time.
Wish the legs were longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it's interesting because looking back on it too, we were just sitting there like, why would anyone do what happened in that? Why would they accept this gift? I'm not going to say much more than that, but like, what? Why would anyone do this?
Don't think about it, just feel it. Feel the long legs.
Indeed. So yeah, I had a blast with that one.
Any other forthcoming horror movies you want me to report back to you on? Are you curious about Cuckoo or Alien Romulus?
I loved the trailer for Alien Romulus, but not said that. I think I might skip Alien Romulus. That one might be a little too spooky for me. But I don't know. That trailer though was great. Was incredible. So,
I'm not an Alien person as much as I've tried. And I guess I've only tried 3 times. I watched Alien once, then I tried watching Aliens, and then I'm like, maybe I'll try watching Alien again in a theater. And every time I'm like, me and this thing don't click with each other. I don't know what it is, but I really want to give Alien Romulus a shot.
Gotcha. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah, Cuckoo is not. I did see a trailer for that one recently. Didn't really look like my style. I'm trying to think because I've seen a number of like horror movie trailers and what
There's
ones
interesting
are
stuff
sticking
coming
out.
out. There's Never Let Go, Strange Darling. What do we have? There's of course Speak No Evil. There's Heretic.
Okay. Yep.
That's later this year.
I don't know if there's certain horror ones that have stood out to me. I don't know. But I did just go see Trap. I went to go see that yesterday.
Good. I also saw Trap, which
Yeah.
really is not horror. I think that's a pure thriller. And boy, is it a lot of fun. I loved Trap.
We had a blast. We ended up kind of thinking the movie was just okay. But we had fun watching it. Like that was the main, like it's not the greatest movie by any means, but we had fun.
Yes.
I walked away thinking that it almost should have been marketed as a comedy. I think the movie is genuinely funny.
It is.
Yeah, and I think even hearing that M. Night Shyamalan is producing a comedy would be interesting.
He's such a dorky dad. And that's one of the reasons why I loved this movie is that it is concentrated girl dad energy. Yeah. It is Josh Hartnett taking his daughter to see a concert where the pop star in the concert is M. Night Shyamalan's actual daughter.
Yeah.
So there's these multiple levels of like pride and love going on, which is really special to have. And I like what the pop star character, she is more of a character than you think she's going to be. She's not merely a backdrop for the movie. And I thought that was an interesting twist. This isn't the twistiest of his movies by far.
Yeah.
And the movie really goes in one straight line. It's like, if this happens, then what happens? And then what happens? And then what happens? It's an interesting progression.
Yeah.
And I like any movie that's a bunch of different things happening over one day. We're just looking at one day in this guy's life.
One bad day.
And how bad things can go.
It's interesting because like M. Night Shyamalan is a pretty divisive director, right? Some people are like, oh, it's M. Night Shyamalan. What's the twist? And I think people who continue to think like that are maybe doing themselves a disservice.
Yes.
But also, I don't think he's the greatest director either. But also, he's been mostly self-financing his movies for the past like 15 to 20 years or so, which I think is incredible.
Yes.
And so I think there's certain things that like you can go in being like, okay, there's probably going to be a twist on this. And if you roll your eyes at that, that's fine. But then there's some that don't necessarily have that, or he's playing on the expectations that he knows you have about him and stuff like that. And I think that's what a lot of people went into this movie with, at least when the trailer came out, of like, oh, if they're telling us that he's a serial killer at the start, what else does this movie have planned? And that's almost something I would say, don't think too hard on that.
Yeah.
Don't. It's really not meant to be a movie with a twist.
I saw some theories, and it's always fun to read a theory. But I also really appreciate when a movie is just exactly what its premise is, and it's simpler than you think it's going to be going in.
Yeah. But then I started to see people online talking about this being like, man, that third act was wild, or that third act was terrible, man. The first two-thirds incredible, but then that last act, and so it was like a mixed reaction to what happens at the end here. And yeah, I liked it. It's not necessarily what I expected, but also I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't necessarily looking for a twist, but also there kind of was. I don't know. It's pretty straightforward, like you said, but also that third act is different than the rest.
It is something that feels like it could have been its own movie if he wanted it to be. I saw just a very brief blurb, like a podcast episode I didn't listen to yet, but the episode description was, this movie's kind of a mess. We're torn about it. And when I watched it, I'm like, it's not trying to do too many things at once. It is one thing, and then it is another thing in succession. It is it is straightforward. It is like, it is doing one thing after another. There's no subplots. There's no B plots. It is one continuous straight line that just ends up in a different direction than you thought it would at the beginning of the line.
Yeah. So I was maybe at one point in time hoping for it to be a little bit more like straightforward puzzle box of like, oh, it's a trap. How does he get out of it? Right. But then, like you said, it becomes something else. And that stuff was good too, but also could have been like, I kind of would have liked just like a straight detective story on this thing, and like it would have been fine, right? Not that the last little bit is a detective story per se, but
folks can have all sorts of reactions. Like talking about Longlegs, I liked the detective part more than I liked the sort of supernatural horror part. Not that I didn't like it, but I'm like, if you had wanted to give me a 100% detective movie, I would have loved that.
Yeah. But yeah, the trap is genuinely funny.
I do go see it. It is a great time.
Not post credits, but there is a mid credits scene that is hilarious. There's some great, again, it's not like jokes, it's not like punch lines or anything like that, but it's like situational comedy. I liked the mother who's there with her daughter who just cannot control her, and they're just like, no, you calm down, and they start screaming at each other,
screaming at each other's faces. So I love that. Out of the many things that have come from the twisted mind of M. Night Shyamalan, one of the things he decides to give us is Josh Hartnett, shirtless, eating pie.
Yeah.
I think Shyamalan and Hartnett made a great team.
They did.
I would love to see them work together again.
Josh Hartnett did fantastic in this.
Right. He's using so many different tools in his toolbox, and his full height. He is so tall.
Even though there is that one scene where he's walking through all the SWAT being like, wow, so big. You guys are so tall. Wow. It's good stuff. We had a blast with that one. So yeah, that's my cinema corner. That's what I've been up to and watching, which I think is all of yours too, because you had Trap written down there and the baseball game.
I haven't been up to much, just been watching a lot of The Prisoner. Excited to talk about that next week.
Indeed. Well, I think this is a good time for us to head on over into our housekeeping. So with that, we will be right back, and when we return, we'll be talking about some of the Comic-Con announcements and things like that. We will be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts, and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at the whatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. All right. We are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you a lot. It means a ton. We appreciate it. Over on the Pilots Club, we just released our episode on Homecoming, the Amazon Prime show based off the audio fiction podcast of the same name. We had a blast talking about that one. So go check it out. That was the one that I was just like, I binged the show earlier on and then was like, oh, I need to talk about this with Melissa. I think she'd like this. She'd love it. So go check it out. We had some fun over there. And then on the free version of the Pilots Club, we just released our episode on Small Wonder, sitcom that I think only had like one season, but it is about a family that adopts a small kid who is a robot. The kid is just doing robot things, and they have to hide the fact that it's a robot from their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it is also often considered one of the worst sitcoms out there. So go hear us talk about that show. It's great.
You show me the best case of we have a robot in our family, we have to hide it from the neighbors. How good can that genre get?
Sure, yeah.
I guess WandaVision.
Yeah.
Did I just answer my question? Is that it? All right.
And then over on the review show, we finished up our French Cinema Month in honor of the Olympics being held in Paris. And this past episode, we got to talk about the umbrellas of Cherbourg. Is that how you say it? Cherbourg? I don't know how to say it. Apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But yeah, got to watch that one. An interesting musical with lots of real bright, vivid colors, and was a big inspiration on Barbie, the recent Barbie movie, as well as La La Land. So.
The recent Barbie movie, not the CGI animated Barbie, A Nutcracker Christmas that came out directly to DVD in like 2003.
Could legitimately be confused.
There's only one Barbie in my heart, and it's Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses direct to DVD.
So go check that out. We had a blast. I already mentioned our Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast over on the Reactor Core. So go check that out as well. And then, we've been up to our usual shenanigans right here on the Captain's Log. So yeah, go check out all of the stuff that we've been up to over here as well. But let's get into some Comic-Con stuff here.
Yes, big news out of Comic-Con. Always great. This is the second time in a row, not in a row, because it didn't happen last year because of strikes and everything. But I have very fond memories of summer 2022 when I had Saturday night tickets to see Nope. And as I came out of seeing this tremendous film, I had these notifications on my phone, like, they're going to do a Thunderbolts movie. The Wakanda Forever trailer is out. Yeah. And then I got to go home and watch this whole live stream with all of this bonkers news in it.
Yeah.
This was not quite so special, but a lot of fun was had. A lot of things nobody was predicting. And that's some real joy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, of course, all sorts of stuff is happening at Comic-Con, the Marvel MCU stuff, of course, probably being the biggest news out of that. I do have a few like miscellaneous comic book related stuff in TV show. I don't know if we'll get to all of that stuff, but if we do, it'll just be real quick mentions of that. We might mention one or two of them. Do you want to start with Marvel? Should we start with DC? What do you want to do here?
Oh, it does. We can just go in the chronological order of which you wrote it in our sheet. It doesn't matter.
That is A-okay. That sounds like a plan. So let's start with Marvel then. MCU Marvel stuff. Melissa, Fantastic Four. Talk to me about that stuff, what they announced with that.
They brought the whole cast out. Nice to see all of them there in person. And by whole cast, it's just the Fantastic Four. You know, Paul Walter Hauser isn't there. Ralph Ineson isn't there.
Right, yeah.
But nice to see them together as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see some previs and some sort of test footage that has not been officially released to the public, but I've seen like... Yeah, I've seen like blurry phone shots of it, and it does seem cool. It's fun that they put this little package together to make it look like a actual 1960s promotional film reel.
Cool.
And the film will be subtitled Fantastic Four, First Steps. And I think this is a good choice, considering that the other Fantastic Four movies have not been subtitled. The one in the mid-2000s, Fantastic Four. The one in the 2010s, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have the in front of it or not. Sometimes they spell out four. Sometimes they don't. But I think it is a good choice to not have three films essentially all called Fantastic Four.
The same thing,
And
yeah.
then this one gets to have a subtitle. First Steps
SEO.
is... Yeah. I think First Steps is a nice nod to space exploration, which it seems like they're very much leaning into these guys are astronauts part of the story. We are going to space. It is 1960s, like jet age retro futurism. We're excited to go to the moon energy. And also if this
important times in a family's history, right?
Yes,
if a
yes,
child
if
takes their first
kids.
steps. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's thematically appropriate on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And it's words we've never seen before. It's not like Fantastic Four Rising, Fantastic Four Begins, Fantastic Four A New Legacy.
Fantastic
Nobody's
Four
got
and the
this
multiverse
subtitle.
adventure, right?
Yes. The wacky misadventures of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So they also at one point I saw they brought out the Fantastic Car that was floating around there, which was neat. So I'm excited about that. They also mentioned that the Fantastic Four will appear in the next two Avengers films.
Good to know.
Which is, good to know. Exciting stuff that they're not just going to be, because that is one thing we do know about the Fantastic Four movies, that it's in a separate universe. So through some way, means, science, magic, who knows? Yeah, some kind of incursion, the Fantastic Four will appear in these next two Avengers films. And speaking of the next two Avengers films, we got a title for this next one. We already knew Avengers Secret Wars,
yes,
but we did not have one for what is, I guess, Avengers 5,
formerly known as Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Correct. Yes. This one got the new name of Avengers Doomsday. And it will be out May 2026 if that schedule holds. And then, of course, we still have Avengers Secret Wars happening in 2027, May 2027. So interesting stuff with all of that. We'll get back to the Doomsday
Russo
title
brothers.
in just a sec. Yeah.
Both Russo brothers directing both movies.
Yeah. How do you feel about this move, Melissa?
It makes sense. This has been widely expected for quite some time. At least that they would do Secret Wars. I believe the Avengers 5, whether under Kang Dynasty or a new in-between subtitle, has been considered under different directors before. But I think having them do the pair of movies makes sense. It was successful once, can be expected to be successful again. Not a huge surprise here, but nice to have a confirmation.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm not mad that they're directing, right? I obviously liked what they did here in the MCU. I think it's a safe bet is maybe my slight disappointment. I'm hoping for newer faces, right? But I think that's also just kind of indicative of a lot of the criticism of the MCU after the whole Infinity Saga, is that it maybe didn't have the same kind of cohesiveness that the older movies did. And maybe they're hoping to get that back, which this move makes sense. And again, I like what they did. So I like, cool, sweet, that, we'll see what happens down the road with that. But of course, with the title reveal of Avengers Doomsday, the big announcement was that Dr. Doom would be played by Robert Downey Jr.
Not on anyone's prediction list.
No,
which kind of fun to get something from way out in left field. For all the thoughts on this, I appreciate that they took a weird turn. I am always interested in a weird turn.
Yeah, I'm also very mixed on this too. On one hand, I think brilliant. Yes, sign me up. On the other hand, same kind of thing of like, it really feels safe. It really feels like they're trying to kind of get that cohesiveness in this multiverse saga that they don't seem to be able to really nail down. But also, I cannot wait. Like, this sounds awesome. Yeah, I mean, we do
know.
Go ahead.
We do know he has been playing Victor Von Doom. Well, it remains to be seen whether he is playing a man who was born with the name Victor Von Doom, or if he's playing a man who has adopted the name Victor Von Doom. Yeah. There are some theories that he is playing a Tony Stark who does like a Don Draper and takes a guy's identity or something like that. We don't know. But it's not like it's not like he's a full Tony Stark who just like learned magic and got a cloak. He is Victor Von Doom.
It very
but
well
there's
could
more
be,
to
right?
it than that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, obviously the MCU has this idea of variance in it. So yeah, it could be another version of Tony Stark. It could not be. But that's like variants don't have to have the same name. That's the idea about variances. Yes, they could share the same look, the same face, but like this guy, like his circumstances were changed, and that's why he is this one instead of that one, right? So yeah, it's probably gonna have something to do with that. But there is precedence in the comics for Victor Von Doom taking up the mantle of Iron Man. Not him being like, aha, I've been Tony Stark all along, but like, no, I think I can be a better Iron Man than Tony ever was. There's also, Victor Von Doom has this like power and magic to do all these weird different things, and I don't know. Is this a face that he chooses to earn the trust of other people? Like, can he use some technology to graft someone's face on his own burnt skin? Right?
Do a face off?
You never know. He could. But that is like what I think is so brilliant about this is the weight that Tony Stark has in the MCU, like the emotional connections that people have to him, that once people start finding out that he looks the same as Tony Stark, oh, it's going to be a gut punch for so many people.
That is real meaty. The idea that even if this is somebody who is not a Tony Stark, has very little in common with Tony Stark, but purely looks like him, and looks like him as if he had never died and continued to age. Like, he is looking like a slightly older Tony Stark than any of his friends or family got to see.
Yeah.
Because he died. Like, that's a real gut punch for a number of different characters. Not just Avengers, but Pepper and Happy and Morgan. And when you think about it, the whole world. We saw in the aftermath of Endgame and movies like Spider-Man No Way Home or Far From Home, that there's murals and these public displays of gratitude and grief over the loss of Iron Man. If somebody comes back with his face, that's a real mind trip for all of Earth.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. And then to bring in the idea of Secret Wars, there was the 2015 comic Secret Wars, which, kind of long story short, the premise is about Dr. Doom, like the main comic book timeline being destroyed, and Dr. Doom trying to save as much of these universes as he can by creating this kind of conglomerate world that he calls Battle World. But it's like we'll take like the Ultimate Comics version of New York and stick it right here, and we'll take this one here and stick it there, and all of that stuff. If you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, there is now precedent of some of these timelines kind of being destroyed, as have been happening in other movies and shows as well. But I'm wondering if that is maybe his plan of like, all these timelines that are dying, we can do something with that. We can make something out of it, right? So yeah, I'm hoping he does something like that, but we shall see.
Yeah. And it seems like he is playing a Doctor Doom that is limited to this arc, to Doomsday, Secret Wars, and probably some sort of post-credits or very minor role in First Steps. Yeah. I believe that then Secret Wars will have some sort of reset point. Or if we are dealing with multiverse stuff, even before then, we could have another Victor Von Doom. Yeah. Like, I don't think he's going to be the Von Doom going forward. He's just doing it for one little arc, which is part of what makes me optimistic. Is like, even if this doesn't work, we only have to do it for 2 movies.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. Like, it felt like, and this is not exactly what happened per se, but like the common talk is that he kind of left the MCU and he thought the time was right. He wanted to go win an Oscar. He did. Good job. And
not everyone can make that plan and then execute that plan.
Right. But then he's also he loves the character of Tony Stark. He loves the MCU. I think he fits in so well that I think he's just like, I'm home. Like, here I am again. Right.
And part of this we do have to take into account is maybe he missed being there and maybe they missed him. Like, there is always some behind the scenes consideration you have to give to these projects. This is a bit of a tangent, but I was at a party the other week where somebody was saying no TV show should last longer than 5 seasons. Almost everything gets worse after 5 seasons. You should just cut it off then, and then all of our TV will be better. And I thought about how crews on shows will form such families. And what a world that would be if you knew every great job you found had a 5-year expiration date on it.
Yeah.
And there's shows like, I think that happened with Scrubs, that Scrubs was a show that went a couple seasons beyond its prime.
Sure.
But the creator often said, I can't break this crew up. I can't put those people out of a job because I chose to end my show at the high point. Like, if I can keep, camera people and editors and costumers employed for another season, I have the means to do so, I would like to do so.
Yeah.
And I think about that with casting choices like these. Some people might say it's, it's sort of hackneyed, or like you're playing it safe. You're going back to formula, bringing him back. But you also have to think, maybe this is an environment he likes to be a part of, and maybe they missed him. And they're like, is there a chance we could collaborate again? We'd love to have you back. It feels like family.
Yeah. I know.
It's not the number one concern, but it is a thing I think about when big choices like these are made.
Didn't Robert Downey Jr. also decide to take, when he was playing Iron Man, he decided to take a pay cut, right, for a small percentage of the profits at the end of the day?
I think at some points, yes, like that might have happened for the first one and maybe like the last one. I don't know.
Interesting, because I'm also wondering, is he at all interested in directing or something like that? I don't know if he has directed something before or not, but I know a number of actors like to go that route after a certain time. Just like, I want to try my hand at directing something.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if him kind of teaming up again with the Russo brothers is a like, hey, this time around, let me shadow you, right? Like right. Show me the ins and outs here. And
then I can direct the third time we try Dark Phoenix. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Whatever the next milestone will be after Secret Wars.
Ironheart Season 2, directed by Robert Downey Jr., right? So yeah, so interesting stuff, to say the least, coming out of the Marvel panel over there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go over to the distinguished. Oh,
do you want to take a second and say, after these Comic-Con reveals, what are you now expecting for D23, which takes place next weekend?
More of a TV focus. I know at one point I had been expecting kind of a teaser or something a little more for the new Daredevil show. Mm-hmm. I know Ironheart has been cooking for a long time. I don't know what's happening with that. I just a little more of a TV focus with that and what they're up to.
I think those two things are definitely ripe for news. I'm curious if they're going to announce another special presentation, since the two they have done with Guardians Holiday and Werewolf by Night have been very well received. I think that format can do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure.
Indeed.
I did have, this would not happen, but after the reveal that Robert Downey Jr. will be Dr. Doom, I'm like, how could they possibly top this? What wild thing could be coming next? And I thought, what if they just keep announcing Dr. Dooms? And they never say that anyone has stopped being Dr. Doom. They just keep adding them.
Doombots. Right. He just makes them look like whoever they want. Chris Evans back as Dr. Doom.
Right. He's an army of 12 Doombots, and each of them are also Oscar-winning actors.
Yeah, the first rowdy is back, Dr. Doom. Pepper Potts is back as Dr. Doom.
Right. Every Oscar winner in the MCU. You want a third Michelle Yeoh? Here she is.
That kid from Iron Man 3. He's back. Dr. Doom.
I would love to see somebody do this once. Just announce a casting in a role and keep announcing casting in the same role.
Yeah, that'd be kind of wild. Wesley Snipes, he's back. It's Dr. Doom.
He's back.
Jennifer Garner, he's back. Dr. Doom.
Everybody's a Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
that's what we've really learned at the end of this whole journey. There's a little Doom in all of us.
Yeah, the MCU is really just about the Doom we made along the way.
Yeah.
Real quick on that same note, also expecting some more Star Wars related stuff.
True, yeah.
Announcement of like the Acolyte season 2. A look at Skeleton Crew, which we've now gotten some like pictures of. There's been some pictures released. Would love some kind of teaser or a trailer for that, since that's out in December. So yeah, maybe a little more info.
What's our next theatrical Star Wars movie? Is it the Rey movie?
I believe so.
Okay.
So maybe also a little more information on James Mangold's Star Wars one, The Dawn of the Jedi, or whatever it is, the like pre the High Republic, like extra far a long time ago. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, there's something with that.
I'll come here 2 weeks from now with a lot of theme park news also.
Cool. Good. Yeah.
Maybe we'll finally get that Avengers e-ticket ride in Avengers Campus.
But yes, so now let us go over to the distinguished competition to DC Comics. So nothing as big or as like Hall H, Robert Downey Jr. is back. James Gunn is back. Dr. Doom, here he is.
I know DC is known as the distinguished competition, which I think is a nice thing to say. I know Stan Lee or whoever used to write that in little Marvel columns.
Blurbs,
I think that's a great way to refer to them in a very conscientious, colleaguely way. You know, there's not an insult or a joke in there. I like that they're called the distinguished competition. But I just thought about other things DC could stand for, like Doritos Cool Ranch.
Sure.
I'll come back with more.
Yeah, so we got a brand new logo for DC Studios. They went with the classic bullet logo.
I like this because it looks good paved into the pavement at a Six Flags.
Sure. There you go.
And I hope that is a ripple effect that this new DC universe has, is more material for Six Flags.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I also saw a bunch of people talking about this online, and I have the nostalgia for that logo. Like I really do like that logo, but I saw a couple of designers talking, and even on the teaser for the Creature Commandos, the logo really does not show up well. Like in the when they put that logo on screen and stuff like that, it's hard to see, it's hard to read, it's not the like biggest, the boldest compared to something else, right? Which it is okay. I think it's not the greatest, but I'm sure there is some treatment of it that I think would be neat.
We've only seen it in one context, and that's in the trailer for an
like
animated
color,
series, where I can imagine like a graphic logo would not stand out as easily.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll see in other things. We'll enjoy it.
Who knows? Then speaking of Creature Commandos, yes, they did get a teaser. Melissa, what did you think of this little short teaser for the Creature Commandos here?
It looks correct. It looks like exactly what you expected to see, which I
don't know. I liked it. Don't get me wrong, but it was very much like it's the Suicide Squad, but they're monsters. And I was like, sure, yeah, that sounds sweet. But also, why does it need to be the Suicide Squad, but something? Why can't they just be?
I don't know, because they already had Amanda Waller in the plot.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's like, well, Superman can't be here because he's weak against magic. Batman is so logical. He doesn't believe in this stuff. The Flash would be scared out of his mind. He wouldn't want this. Wonder Woman would be the only one that would show up because she believes in like mythical creatures and God. But she's busy, right? So we have our own team. I not that that's a better way to put that team per se, but I was just like, oh, it's just Suicide Squad, but
the world is full of different superhero teams. I don't think that hard about why a team exists, because teams existing is just the nature of the game. You gotta have them. They show up from anywhere.
But yeah, I like.
There is the point
trailer.
where she says, I'm not, Amanda Waller's like, I'm not allowed to do a squad of humans anymore. These aren't humans.
Yeah.
I found my loophole.
Yeah. I thought the art in this looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Even just the little small bits that we got to see in this looked like it was animated really well. Top-notch stuff there. So yeah, I've been excited about that. And then we got a trailer for The Penguin. Colin Farrell is returning for the Batman 2 as well. But Melissa, what did you think of this trailer here?
Intriguing. I forgot that's Kristen Milioti in it, the girl from Palm Springs, the voice of Serena Ong, Hank's girlfriend from the last couple seasons of the Venture Brothers. That's her, right?
I don't know.
If I knew she was going to be in it, I forgot. Wild that Colin Farrell keeps agreeing to have more and more makeup put on him.
I mean,
not more makeup, the same amount of makeup, just additional times. I'm like, buddy, you don't got to do this, but thank you.
Yeah, he really transforms himself into this character. And it's just kind of mind blowing of just like, man, he looks so good, right?
He does. I do look forward to seeing this character who was an interesting ingredient in the overall The Batman film getting some time to spread his wings.
Yeah.
And I like getting to spend time in this recovering Gotham City that's picking itself back up after a disastrous flood. That's not something we don't get to see the immediate aftermath down on the streets of a city trying to heal itself after a big superhero disaster. We just see
almost
Batman
got
v
that
Superman
in the Netflix Daredevil. We knew that there was a power vacuum in the stuff, but we didn't get to see like the actual like cleanup.
That is Kristen Milioti, and we also have Clancy Brown and Mark Strong. A quick Google is telling me will appear in The Penguin. Stellar.
Good stuff.
Two of the best heavies you can get. Enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about that show as well. That starts coming out in September, I believe. September like 18th or 19th.
What?
So real soon here.
What? Agatha All Along is also September.
It's busy. Like one is on the 18th, one is on the 19th. And I hope so good stuff with that. Speaking of Batman, though, something I did not put down on this. Did you by chance get to check out Batman Caped Crusader on Amazon Prime? That also dropped this past week here.
What format of thing is that?
It is a cartoon on Amazon Prime. It is executive produced by Bruce Timm, who did all of the animated stuff back in the early 90s. It's phenomenal. Just 10 episodes. They're all out right now. It is a much more adult show, but not like adult in the way that you're probably thinking that I'm alluding to. It's not that. Just a more mature version of that cartoon. It is set in like weird retro futuristic 1950s kind of thing. The art is a real dark. Greg Rucka was working on one episode. Ed Brubaker wrote a couple episodes, I believe. Mark Bernardin wrote one, I believe, something like that. Phenomenal stuff. A great addition to Bruce Timm's work on the DC.
Nice to see more of it.
Yeah.
Even if I never watched that much of it, I am very nostalgic for the look of Batman the Animated Series.
Yep, it has that
I
look.
did see this lady penguin out of context and didn't know what it was from.
Yes, that is one of the kind of, I'd say major changes, but even I don't really feel like it's much of a major change. But yeah,
it's
that is
just the penguin, but with lipstick. I love it.
basically, yeah, basically.
Great.
So yeah, good stuff with that. And then some teaser arts for My Adventures with Superman season 3. I actually also just finished up watching season 2 of that show this past week. My partner and I have been watching that one. Great show, phenomenal. So yeah, good stuff with that. But that's kind of all the big like DC Comics news that I saw. At least for like movies and television and stuff like that. So good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
We got something else I wanted to talk about is we're getting another
Please.
Hellboy movie. Didn't know that was happening.
We sure are.
Did not catch how this is being released. Can I see it in a theater?
Yeah, I think this technically was announced just shortly before Comic-Con, but I think we got a little bit more info at Comic-Con or something like that. But yeah, the trailer, Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
Which is one of my favorite short stories when we read the whole original Mignola run of Hellboy. I think this is a great one to pick. It is a real different look and feel than all the other Hellboys that have been brought to screen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And the trailer looks incredible. I cannot wait for this. Hopefully it comes out soon. Hopefully it will get some kind of big distribution, some more marketing, because it is more of an indie movie from what I understand.
Yes.
It's
yes.
yeah. But it looks fantastic.
Yeah, happy Hellboy's getting made any way that it can. The Hellboy looks good. There's never been a poor looking Hellboy. They nail the look every time. Yeah. He certainly does not sound like
he doesn't have the big like gruff voices, right? That
you know, he doesn't sound like a Ron Perlman or a David Harbour, and it's not until it was missing that I realized how important the voice was. He just sounds like a guy. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, oh, it's not what I expected.
Which, to be honest, I kind of think actually fits as well, because that's kind of the way Hellboy sees himself in the it's like, I'm just a guy. Like I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to be here. He's kind of like that in some of the comics. I'm just like, now I gotta go fight a ghost. All right.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I clicked on the trailer again. At the end, it does just say coming soon. So I don't know how I get to watch Hellboy the Crooked Man. But comments are saying, I'm happy this is a Hellboy movie that's not about his chosen one arc. There's no like world ending cataclysm. It's just another thing Hellboy has to do. A day in the life of Hellboy. Right, which is mostly what he does. It's mostly, great, there's a demon in here. Oh no, this castle's haunted.
I just wanted to go drinking. Come on, guys.
Right. That's all I ever want to do. Can't I just go play cards?
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Right. Good stuff. Well, yeah, I have a few other miscellaneous stuff to kind of wrap up the podcast with, if you don't mind me mentioning these things here. Invincible has been renewed for season 4. I'm happy about that. That's a great one. I watched this cartoon with my partner called Has Been Hotel, which we both really enjoyed. Season 1 is currently out on Amazon Prime. It is very vulgar. It is not for kids. It is also kind of a musical. There are musical numbers in each of the episodes. It's a lot of fun. It's very raunchy, very not safe for work.
Interesting. I have an Amazon Fire TV, so there's always a rotating carousel of just splash page ads for Prime shows. And I saw a single image from this show. And I got the feeling it was more of an adult cartoon, but just from somebody standing there. I can't tell the show is that vulgar or horny or whatever.
Yeah, just don't show your kids.
Don't have any kids to show it to. Got it.
But yeah, that show has been renewed for season 3 and 4, which is pretty exciting in my opinion. And then over in the Walking Dead universe, apparently Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has been renewed for season 3, so his own spinoff
didn't know we had
is
2
continuing.
seasons of most of this stuff.
I think only season 1 is out right now, and season 2 is coming real soon here, I think. But that's been renewed for a season 3. And then in the world of comics, one of my favorite creators, Ram V, was just announced to be on a New Gods book, which I think will be pretty cool. And then Jeff Lemire will be working on JSA. So if you want to see the old school Justice Society of America, he will be working on that, which I think is a great fit for him.
Who's in the Justice Society of America?
It's like the original Green Lantern, the original Flash. It's all the like
right. That's what I was picturing was the helmet with the wings on it.
Yep.
I didn't know if it was older versions of the Justice League or like different guys completely.
It is. There are different guys. There's like Our Man. There's Wildcat. Like they would be on the team, stuff like that. Dr. Midnight, potentially, but yeah, it was the precursor to the Justice League for sure.
I enjoy Jeff Lemire. He does good with a bunch of sad sacks. He's one of our best writers of sad sacks, which I say is a tremendous compliment. His work can be pervasive with a very unique form of soulful melancholy.
Yeah.
And doing an older generation of, not older in terms of age, older in terms of like legacy and vintage type of heroes, that does sound like a good fit for him.
Yeah, and some of those characters are older too. They're not the like young, spry action heroes. They are older, but yeah, I think he'll be a great fit on that, especially with his work over on the Black Hammer universe that he created. I think there'll be some good stuff over there in that JSA book. So that's kind of it. I know there are plenty more announcements out there that happened over at Comic-Con for all sorts of stuff, but those are just kind of the ones that caught my eye. Stuff like that. So cool beans. Good stuff.
Beans are cool. Yeah.
Beans sure are cool.
It's always a unique little space to be in. We're just post all this news and we know we have more news coming up in like a week. And then I don't know, are we just dry until Super Bowl? I like when there's like a date on the calendar that I can look forward to and point at and say, after that date, I'm really going to know something.
Yeah, I think Netflix Geeked Week is happening, I think, late August or September.
They're still on it?
Oh, yeah, they still do that. Absolutely.
Wow.
So, yeah, all sorts of interesting stuff happening. But I say we wrap up our podcast right there. So, Melissa, where can the people find you? Where can they get in contact with you?
You can send me an email the old-fashioned way at Gmail. Just write me a note at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
Perfect. Here we go. And you guys can get in contact with me at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you'd like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts Official. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. If you are watching this on YouTube, we got plenty more videos for you to check out right over there on that side of the screen. That would help us out as well. Yeah, this has been number 278 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.